everyone, to the Hot Tag Hooligans Wrestling Podcast Show with myself, Aaron, and Tom tonight. He's the former Ring of Honor television champion, a former Ring of Honor six-man tag team champion. He's the CEO of Shane Taylor Promotions, and he's the baddest of all time. It's Mr. Shane Taylor. How's it going?
Going absolutely incredible, brother. Killed that intro. That's what I'm talking about. Started off on the right foot. That's how you do it.
There you go. Let's talk about Shane Taylor Promotions, because I want to dive right into that right here, right now. It's a faction. It's a brotherhood that I absolutely love when it comes to professional wrestling. And the reason why is because I feel like it took a lot of the old stereotypical wrestling and the way the promoters book certain talents, and I'll say it, African Americans, and you all made it your own. You made it what you wanted it to be, and you broke the mode. Talk to me about that.
I mean, that's exactly right, and it's refreshing because the message that we give, right, is love yourself, love your culture, be proud of who you are, right? Now, we are telling that from the lens of African-American talent because that's who we are, right? But anybody of any background can plug and play to whatever they are, right? And so it shouldn't be anything that makes anybody reluctant or feel like it's divisive. It's really not, because it's just saying, hey, you should be proud of who you are, right? And for us in a sport like professional wrestling, there is a tendency for companies and fans to be very lazy about how they present African-American talent, right? And a lot of that has to do with stereotypes and stigma in society, right? So people are comfortable with seeing Black people in certain positions, right? So if you were to see a gangster on your TV, a lot of people will go, oh, I recognize that. I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable with seeing that image. What they don't get is that is less than 1%, less than 1% of 1% of the actual culture. Like, so what you're getting is the hyper criminalized, hypersexualized version, the highly profitable, drama filled stuff that people want to give you. And there is just so much more to us than that. And that is what we wanted to showcase in an era where everything is quick and it's what have you done for me lately? And it's instant gratification. We wanted to be people that you really had to sit down, look at, understand, and then dive deep into yourself about what you were seeing, right? And if there's anybody that's uncomfortable with what we say or what we do, then that requires introspection. You have to look introspectively to go, okay, why do I have a problem with that, right? So now we're thought-provoking as well, right? It's not just flashing across your TV screen. So we definitely wanted to be different, break the mold of that, 4 or 5 character stigma that they had, and really present something that people had to understand. One of the things that I always say is people didn't fear Jay-Z when he was in Marcy Projects. They fear Jay-Z now. You know what I mean? Because of the power he wields, the money he has, the influence that he has, and that. That's sort of the goal, is to be able to have people look at us in that light and go, okay, they're different. Now that I know they can do it, what can everybody else do? What is the potential of everybody else? And the answer is it's unlimited potential. You have so many stars out there that if they were just allowed to find who they truly are and give that to people, there's no stopping them.
So you're 15 years into the business right now, but before that, before you actually broke into the business and knowing how the companies actually booked African-American talent, and not only African-Americans, Latinos, etc., was there anyone that you found as an influence to you, or were you more gravitated towards, the major superstars that they were actually pushing on the TV, or did you find someone that you found to be your type?
Ron Simmons. I was struggling to find a lot of people that I could relate to, only just because I knew people that talk sort of slick and did all that stuff, but those weren't really people that we decided to associate with, right? And I knew people who'd done other things, again, didn't really line up. But once I saw Ron Simmons, I could immediately relate that to just about everybody that I knew. We knew a bunch of people who played football, who worked hard, who busted their ass, who were just good men, who were trying to be the best at something. And for him to go out there and achieve that, to make history, to beat a monster like Vader, it just seemed like such an insurmountable task at the time that when he did it, I was like, yo, there it is, right? That's what I want to be able to do. Now, I'll never have abs like Ron, but the goal was the same. Like, okay, if I can get to the highest point of this profession, just being myself, then that is what I want to do, you know? And there's enough negative imagery on TV and in music that our kids have to hear, that I never wanted STP to be a part of the negative talk. I wanted it to be, whether we're bad guys or good guys, the goal was the same. I wanted to be able to show something positive, right? And for us, it's simply a matter of perspective then on if we're good guys or we're bad guys, because for a lot of people, we're good guys. And to some, we're bad guys. You know what I mean? But again, that's what makes it so fun, is because each person is going to have to decide for themselves and understand what it is about them that makes them see us in that light.
Now, as you're navigating your character and your faction, and you're building this picture that you're wanting to portray, did you find that there was difficult times trying to get that message across to the people who were running the promotions?
Yeah, I mean, but that's the sport. You know, anytime you're looking to change something, anytime you're looking to upset the status quo or redefine how things work, you're going to get that pushback. You know what I mean? You're going to get that resistance. It's been no different for any person throughout history who's tried to change their sport or change their profession, right? When you look at what Muhammad Ali did for boxing, same thing. When you look at what Tommy Smith and John Carlos did at the Olympics, same thing. If you want to make statements, if you want to try to change the game, to bring light to people, to bring education to people, you understand that there is a cost to leadership. There is. Whether people want to admit it or not, there absolutely is. And most times the people who stick their necks out to lead are the ones that have to take the brunt of the brunt of that backlash. But that is what we signed up for, because someone has to lead, someone has to do it. And why not, why not me? So my goal is to always be myself, be true to myself, be able to lead, and say what needs to be said, and try to change the sport to make it what we all want it to be. And that's a place that everybody, no matter of their background, no matter of where they were brought from, no matter of their socioeconomic status, no matter your sexual orientation, no matter anything, you have the ability to go out there and truly have an opportunity to be at your best and be successful without any other factors holding you back. You know what I mean? So that's always been the goal.
When you look at Khan, Moses, O'Shea, Edwards, were you totally involved in the recruitment of those talents into Shane Taylor Promotions, or were some of them told to join Shane Taylor Promotions?
No, that's all me, 100%. That's myself and Ron Hunt. We were looking, and because synergy is so important in any team, right? You can have a great team of talent, but if you don't have chemistry and synergy, you're not going to win. So the first thing that I did was talk to my guy, Ron Hunt, told him the vision, told him what I wanted as TP to be, told him what I thought we could be, made him the COO of the LLC. It's a legit business. Like, this is who we are. This is what we do. And brought him on board. And once we started the TV title defenses, once we got to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 defenses. It's like, all right, we're taking this over, but now it's a numbers game. Now we can't do it by ourselves, right? There's just far too many people coming at us that we're not going to be able to fend off everybody. And so what you then need is numbers. What you then need is like-minded individuals in the army that are going to go out and absolutely conquer anything you put in front of them. And that is exactly what Khan and Moses are. That is exactly what O'Shea Edwards is. They are soldiers that go out and absolutely destroy anybody and conquer everybody. And that was evident from the gate. The very first time we stepped on stage and in Pittsburgh was a game changer. And everybody who saw us step on that stage when we brought them in, looked and said, oh, yeah, they're going to be a problem immediately. And the first conversations that I had with them, they said almost something very similar to what I just said, was they were tired of seeing the same 5 characters, tired of the way that, we were perceived in the sport, and they wanted to do something to change it. And that's all I needed to hear. Everybody's going to be different. They're going to have their different skill sets, have their different perspectives on things. But at the end of the day, the end goal is the same. This is where we're going, and we're all in it to get there together. So bringing them on board, and we see just how talented they are individually. But that's what makes the group so dangerous, is because you've got 5 main event caliber talents, 5, who can all walk, talk, go, and have every tool that you need in this sport. And we're all under the same banner. It's insane. It makes you think back to those more recently, it makes you feel like the Golden State Warriors, right? Like, you've got shooters everywhere. You've got people capable of taking over a game everywhere. And that's what we love about it. So we're just going to keep doing that.
So I've got to bring this up because I'm a huge collector of micro brawlers. Mm-hmm. So this guy right here is sweet. What do you think about those, and how cool is that to be immortalized that way?
That's dope, man. I wish they wouldn't have come out with them as like the shutdown happened. Like, you know what I mean? So I feel like they came out with the Wrestle Buddies and those at like the same time, but it was like the shutdown was already like announced. I was like, damn, this would have been great 6 months ago. You know what I mean? But it's incredibly dope, right? Like, anytime that there's that level of investment in you to say, hey, we want to promote you this way or and something for our fans to have too, man. Like, that was a big thing for me too. And so many people don't get. It's like, I wanted to be able to push for those opportunities for everybody to be able to get stuff like that, man. Like, I didn't like and don't like when we're in an era where you'll have X amount of Black people on a roster, and like one guy gets an action figure or one lady does, and people are like, well, you can get this one. It's like, okay, cool. But what if they don't want that one? What if they want ours? You see what I'm saying? Like, there's multiple people have, like every other group has, all their stars able to get these things. I want that all across the board. You know what I mean? And so that was something that I always worked for too. Like, that people should be able to get, Burger micro brawler, O'Shea micro brawler, Khan and Moses, Ron Hunt, Shane Taylor micro brawler, and Eli Isom micro brawler if they want one. You know what I'm saying? Like, that should be a thing. And I understand the business side of it, and what's monetarily feasible and what's not. But it's like, still, like, that should be the goal, is getting it to a point where everybody, has the option of getting these things.
Yeah, I understand that, because I feel like as a wrestling fan growing up, I was always, Bret Hart's my favorite of all time, but I always liked wrestlers too that weren't getting pushed as much. I always loved Tuco Scorpio. I always, I would never find a Tuco Scorpio figure anywhere. So I kind of understand what you're saying, as far as if the people want it, get it. But me and Tom, we kind of talked not too long ago. We would love to have our own set of micro brawlers of people who we've had on the show who are just strictly independent wrestling based. Maybe they haven't made it to the big times yet. the cost of that stuff is ridiculous.
Yeah, I ended up getting my own action figures made too, and I was like, oh yeah, you're not like Mattel or something, dog. Like it's they're expensive. But again, it was just something that I felt like we needed to do. That was just dope. That was again, which is the whole STP brand, which is, hey, if you don't want to do it for us, great, we'll do it ourselves. You know what I mean? No problem. And so to be able to come out with a custom action figure for everybody, to be able to sell, to be able to self-fund that and do that is just incredible, you know? So yeah, it would have been so like, I've never seen a Too Cold Scorpio figure ever, right? But I know so many people that love him and would have loved to have one in their collection to be able to play at home and be like, oh, I'm too cold. No, I'm too cold. Like people would have loved to do that. So I want that to be a thing for everybody, right? And so that's just, you know, it's I understand what comes with it from the business sense, but I also feel like if you've got that big a bankroll, you know, it shouldn't really be an issue, you know.
You mentioned the shutdown, and the last 3 years of pro wrestling in general has just been a whirlwind. It's something that we have never seen before. You know, the pandemic was brutal. It seemed like, you know, WWE was going to be okay, but let's be honest, they lost a lot of money. AEW struggled there for a little bit financially as well. And then here comes the Ring of Honor shutdown. And I know the plan was for them to, you know, they mentioned that they were going to revise it, but there wasn't a guarantee of who was going to be part of the revision. And now we've got a clear picture as Tony Khan's purchased Ring of Honor. What are your initial thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm sure they've got an incredible roster so far. We saw a lot of guys come back. We saw Suzuki there, got Joe back. You know what I mean? I'd imagine they'd probably use a lot of those guys that sort of ran the place when they were in their respective eras, right? So you get that old school feel of it. You get the nostalgia of having guys like Joe and Punk and Danielson back in ROH. You've got the Bucks, you've got Cole, you've got, you know, Red Dragon, you've got all these ROH staples that are there. But then you've also got, you know, room for the next up and coming guys that maybe you don't have a lot of time for on AEW TV. So you've got quality world-class veterans there to teach younger guys, give them big match experience, give them TV time and all this. So you've got the perfect balance. So I wish nothing but the best for them and good luck to them.
Now, personally, I feel like there could be a struggle trying to run so many shows for Tony Khan. Do you feel like that could be an issue, that there's so much going on?
No, because when you got to think though too, right? Like his father's a billionaire, right? He's a billionaire. So they've got people in positions to be able to handle all the work that needs to be handled. Now, I'm sure like once they all do their jobs and he's got final say of everything, I'm sure it's still a full day's work, right? But I feel like they would have factored in time and all of that before any sort of acquisition. So I'm sure that whatever workload is coming, they feel as though they're fully prepared for. So I don't feel like that's going to be too much for them at all.
One promotion that has seemed to rise, you know, out of nowhere like a phoenix is GCW. You know, during the pandemic, before the pandemic, you know, it wasn't well known to a lot of pro wrestling fans. And then all of a sudden, you know, the addition of Matt Cardona kind of brought a little bit more mainstream pop to it. And now yourself, you've been wrestling on some GCW shows as well. What do you feel about GCW? Do they have this longevity that you think that can continue to grow? Or do you think it's just one of those promotions that's an earlier Ring of Honor type feel?
No, I feel like they can go as long as they want to, you know. You've got incredible talent. From what I've seen, the business side of it is handled really well. They're continuing to grow. They're continuing to put on bigger and bigger shows. They just ran a whole collective at Mania Week, you know, so that was like 11 shows or some crazy kind of thing. Like They've got the talent there that has the passion and love that place. So that's going to push it forward. I definitely see a lot of, resemblance to early ROH in that aspect of just having, purely just passionate talent that's willing to do whatever they have to do to put on the best show possible for the fans. So yeah, I feel like as long as they're doing that, they're going to be just fine.
So is there anything as far as GCW goes that you're looking forward to coming up?
The For the Culture was dope. Us as STP, myself and O'Shea and Ron Hunt in there against AJ Francis, aka Frankie Baby, Tahuti, Rihanna, the Hitmakers, was absolutely fun. I love getting in the ring and having someone challenge us and step to that plate so aggressively. It just makes everything that much better. That was an incredible time. I don't know what they have next on their schedule, but I'm sure whatever it is, they're going to knock it out of the park just like they do everything else. So again, the best of luck to them. Shout out my guy, Chris Dickinson. I believe he just signed with New Japan. Long-time GCW guy. So awesome for him. I just wish nothing but, great things for everybody involved.
15 years into the business, do you feel that your mindset has changed a lot since your earlier days? As far as, do you feel like that you're more of a mentor to a lot of talents nowadays? Do you see things from a different perspective than you did when you were earlier?
Oh, of course. I mean, if I saw things the same way now that I did 15 years ago, then I would have wasted 15 years. You know what I mean? I do my best to try to help those who ask for it. I don't just offer it up, and I don't go over and just, volunteer information. Not that I don't want to give it, but I feel like those who want it will ask for it. You know what I'm saying? And so I kind of just go that route. If people come and they ask me, then I'll just tell them straight up. And even when I do my seminars, that's what they are, right? It is just me telling people about more than what is inside the ropes, right? All the stuff that can get you tripped up outside of it, right? And giving you that insight and hopefully preventing anybody from messing up their career before it starts, right? So stuff like that. But yeah, there's definitely that feeling of, okay, I'm in a leadership role now. It's no longer my turn to follow, it's my turn to lead. And so that's what I try to do. That's what I do with STP, and any locker room that I'm in. I try to be the guy that anybody can go to if they want, and get anything they need from me, and I think when you ask around whether people like me or not, the answer is, they'll tell you I can do my job, and I do my job very, very well. And you won't hear anybody saying anything crazy about me.
Whether it's inside the ring or outside of the ring, is there anything that you could go back and tell the younger Shane Taylor right now when he was breaking into the business that you've learned through overtime?
Yes. This business is not like any other competitive sport that you've been a part of. I would tell myself not to take things so personally, because at the end of the day, this is a sport that is determined by other people's opinions, not necessarily by what your actual skill level is. Coming from boxing and coming from wrestling and coming from football, I was like, hey, if I do X, Y, Z, I should be over here. That is not the case with professional wrestling, right? You can do X, Y, Z all day. If that's not the person in charge's opinion of where you should be, that is not where you're going to be. And so that was something that I struggled with early on, because again, you're there, you're learning, you have the passion and love, and you feel like, okay, this is what would happen in a perfect world. This is not a perfect world, right? This is what it is. So for me, that's the piece of advice that I would tell myself. But that's also why, with knowing that, I made STP into what it is. I don't have to depend on anybody to promote me. Then I'll promote myself. I don't have to wait for anybody to dub me. Okay, now we feel as though you deserve this. You're ready for this. No, I'll do it. You know what I mean? I'll take care of it. And a lot of people respect that, and some people don't. Because they feel like it's cocky, it's arrogant, it's brash, it's whatever. And how dare I have as much confidence in myself as I do? But who else is going to have it? If I don't ride for me and believe in me to the utmost, who else is going to do it? You know what I mean? So you have to have that in you. I feel like every great, not just in wrestling, but every great in anything, in any field, in any occupation, has that unwavering, almost unrealistic confidence in themselves that I am going to, whatever I need to do to be successful, I will do. And that's just where I'm at with it.
Colin Cowherd today on his show was talking about, the truth in America is this. Sometimes you can be the hardest worker in a room and you're still going to fail. And it's still, that's something that people don't want to tell you, because talent and hard work can get you somewhere. And selfishness, instead of being selfless, can get you further too. And that's just the way the reality is.
It's the world. Yeah, I mean, Colin says some wild shit a lot of times, but yeah, that's true. There's a lot of people, and that they'll get. And for those who get it, that you look and you're genuinely like, hell yeah, they're a good person. Hell yeah, I'm glad they got that. They deserve that. There's a lot of people who you look and go, really? Okay, you know what I mean? Good for them. But like, there's quotes that go like, hey, you never wish you had what somebody else had, because you don't know what they did to get it, and you don't know what they're doing to keep it. You know what I mean? And so for me, I look at that and I remind my guys too, like, hey, everything that glitters ain't gold, fam. You know what I'm saying? Like, this may look good over here, this may look good over here, this may look good over there, but you don't know what's going on over there. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, we just continue to do what we do. We continue to put in the work. We continue to go out and absolutely steal a show in any show that we're on and any promotion that we're in. And that's just going to be who we are and what we do. Everybody sees a grinder, or, somebody always sees a grinder. That's an Adam Pearce quote. So that's just what we're going to be, grinders.
Before your career is over, who is the one person that you would love to have a dream match against?
I was just able to cross low-key off that list at VIP Mania. So I think right now that person would be Samoa Joe, if there had to be one person. I feel as though we have similar styles, similar attitudes. I've met Joe a few times. He actually taught me that your shoe game is the most important thing in your outfit, because it's what people look at first. So I always, from then on, made sure anytime I'm going to be around Joe to have some pretty decent shoes on. But yeah, that would be one. He got to wrestle my boy Ray Rowe years ago. And I want my chance in there with Joey Head Rocker, aka Joey Schmerda, aka Samoa Joe. So that's probably if I have a few, but if you were to ask which one would I be able to take off and then be good, that one.
Ain't nothing wrong with that one. Let me just tell you. And my apologies, I forgot to say the VIP Heavyweight Champion of the World, Shane Taylor.
Yes, sir. The two-time reigning and defending VIP Heavyweight Champion of the world.
You congratulated me on the opening, and I forgot to mention that. So
that's all right. But we got it in there. Everybody's not perfect. It's all right.
Absolutely. Well, Shane, tell everyone where they can find you next, and here's your chance to plug some merchandise.
at Shane216 Taylor on Twitter and Instagram. All the links to the merchandise, if you're in the merch buying mood, which I hope you are in the bios of those social medias. I can't thank everybody enough for the incredible support over my 14 years of doing this, almost 15 now. I thank you so much for the support of my 5-6 years in ROH, for the last 2.5 years with STP. Truly blessed to have all the support, all the people around me, and let's continue to keep going. And we're just going, man. The grind continues. Marathon continues.
Ladies and gents, he's the baddest of all time, Shane Taylor. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Greatly appreciated. For myself and Tom, make sure everyone heads on over to our Pro Wrestling Tee store, buy some merchandise as well. Buy Shane's before you buy ours. His is probably cooler. If you're going to buy any merchandise, I'm pretty sure his is cooler than ours. If you're in the reading mode, make sure to pick up a copy of my book, Independent Road to Wrestler's Journey, or Loving Casey Nelson. Hit the subscribe button. If you're going out to watch any pro wrestling, make sure you're doing what you need to do and stay safe. The way you can enjoy the show and the shows can keep going. So for myself and Tom and Shane, again, thank you so much. We will see you all next week.